Hey everybody, today is October 24th. I wanted to share this dream that I had this morning because it's another earthquake dream. I am having a lot of dreams about major earthquakes, and I've said it before, but right before coronavirus started, I was dreaming about pretty big earthquakes for, I want to say, about maybe 2 months. And as far as that goes, I think I've been dreaming about earthquakes again for probably about 2 months now. So if that's any kind of correlation about whatever's going to happen happening soon, I don't know. But um, what you're looking at here, this is the Buckingham Palace, but I don't think that's where I was at in this dream. But wherever I was at, I don't even know if it's like a specific place or if it was just symbolism to the dream. Wherever I was at, it was like a very stately, fancy, kind of like a palace. It was very polished on the outside, very clean and very just fancy and polished. It looked like it had like pearl or marble on the outside. Again, I don't know where I was at. It was just a very stately looking building. And this is just kind of the closest thing that I could find, only because it had the column pillars that this palace had. So again, I don't know if I was in a specific place in the world or if it was just something the dream was symbolizing. But at the same time, in the dream, I knew that this building I was in was a school. So whenever I dream about being in a school, it's symbolizing being in the world because it's a place of learning and learning lessons and things like that. So I was in this building, this like palace looking place, and all of a sudden there was an earthquake, like a big earthquake. And everybody ran out of the building. And let me get my notes to make sure I don't leave anything out. So the building started shaking. Everybody ran out of the building. And in the last earthquake dream that I had, where I was in Florida, the scenery looked very similar to this one. So I don't know what that means, but it's like I'm always surrounded by, like in my last dream, I was in a building that kind of looked like this, where it's like stately and square, with the columns, and there was like the place I was in was in a row. There was like a row of all these different buildings that were very similar to this. And there's always like a clearing out front of like flat meadowland where everybody runs out for safety to make sure that no other surrounding buildings or anything falls on us. So that's kind of what it looked like in this dream as well. So everybody ran out to the clearing in the grass, and there were like, in this dream, there were trees. And everybody decided that in case the ground next to us was going to like split open, we would grab onto one of the nearby trees, like up in the tree branches, and just hang on. I don't know why, but that's what everybody was doing, and that's what I was doing. So, like, when I say this was a big earthquake, this was like one of those earthquakes where the ground just splits open and leaves like a 20-foot gap. So I was like, okay, if the ground is going to split open over here, then I need to run over to this tree and jump up in it for some reason and just hang on for dear life. And everybody had like their trees right next to them. So it was a very, very violent earthquake. Like built like a building like this could topple over completely, like no problem. And so there were hundreds of students trying to hold on to the trees. The earthquake was violent. Okay, so at one point I said, "Are we in the Holy Land? Are we in Israel?" So that's pretty interesting because, sorry, I think my dog sees somebody outside. That's pretty interesting because I don't say things like that in dreams, and I've never even been to Israel. So I don't know if that's where I was in this dream. Uh, I've never been there, so I don't know what to look for as far as like a palace, very fancy looking building. I don't know. But I said, "Are we in the Holy Land? Are we in Israel during this earthquake?" And then, so this earthquake was lasting forever. And that's a common theme in these dreams lately is it's like not just a 30-second earthquake or even just a minute. It like goes on and on and on. It takes a long time to get over with. And then at some point, I found myself back in the building, the school building slash palace. The details in this dream are really strange, and I was going to leave them out to begin with because I'm like, they're kind of random. I don't know, but I have found that whenever I do that, I always regret it and just wish I would have left them in there. So I'm leaving everything in. But I found myself back in the building, and again, it was a school, so there was like a cafeteria place. And I went down to the cafeteria to get something to eat. But I noticed that this entire cafeteria, just the entire thing, as far as my eye could see, um, was like candy and candy bars, like those little individual bite sized candy bars, kind of like the ones you see this time of year right now. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it. It did not say. It was just there was candy everywhere and candy bars. I specifically remember like miniature candy bars just on every surface. And I'm like, okay, why is this place all candy? So I was like circling through like the assembly line or whatever, like multiple times. I was like, ugh, I'm like trying to find something nourishing to eat, but this is just all junk. And I was like, why is it all candy? This is just all garbage. So I said, ugh, this is just gross. And then I left. So I don't know what that was about as far as everything just in the cafeteria being candy and candy bars. It looked like a store threw up candy everywhere. So that's where I woke up from the dream. And again, the details are kind of weird in this dream, but at the same time, they are pretty detailed. So I don't know why I said, hey, are we in the Holy Land? Are we in Israel? I don't know why I was in this school that looked like a fancy palace. Again, like I can still see it. I can close my eyes and see exactly what it looked like. It was like very polished on the outside. Like here with this Buckingham Palace, you can see it's kind of weathered and you can tell that it's like, there's a lot of traffic in front of it. This place was very polished and like pearly or marbly. There were column pillars. It was very beautiful. And then I don't know if this is supposed to be a place in Israel or not. I don't know if the Israel part of it is symbolism. I don't know if the earthquake itself is symbolism. I think usually earthquake dreams are symbolism, but I also think with this one, I think this is a double meaning one, because I feel like it's possibly an earthquake that's going to cause the dead in Christ to rise from their graves. I don't know. A lot of people have been speculating about this earthquake taking place on Halloween, which is very eerie as far as people coming literally out of their graves. I mean, what if I had to think, and I've said this before, if I had to think of one certain time of the year that I would think Jesus would not come back, that the rapture would not happen, I would choose Halloween. I really would. Because, I mean, can you imagine, like, being caught in the middle of that and realizing what happened, and there you are in your devil costume, and you have your children in, like, demon costumes, and the rapture just happened, and graves opened on a day where they celebrate the dead, and you see zombies and things that just symbolize death and things like that. I don't know. That would be really weird. But I don't know. So I really don't have anything else to add to this. I do have another dream that I want to share, but I want to make it in a separate video because in this dream, I was ratting out Barack Obama, and I feel like if I just kind of hide that dream at the end of this one, it won't quite get out there to people that need to be warned about who he is. So I'll go ahead and end this one and get started on that video. So I do apologize. I haven't been on here in a little bit because I've just been dealing with a lot, and my spirits have just really been broken for the past couple weeks. It's been a lot, but so I haven't even done my Bible study video yet this week. But I want to be in the right frame of mind when I do that. I don't want to be a drag when I do one of those videos. But I just have not been feeling up to coming on here because I am just dealing with a lot, and on top of everything, like My job has been threatened because of COVID, and I've lost out on like I think 4 weeks total pay now because of it, because people being exposed to other people and they have to isolate and quarantine and all that kind of stuff. And then we had like our refrigerator and our freezer broke, so we were like having to live out of the cooler on the um, on our patio. And then, you guys, refrigerators are not cheap. And of course, we can't just like go to Lowe's and get the cheapest, dinkiest little thing that they have, which I would be fine with. But you guys, my husband is 6 foot 4.5 inches tall, and he refuses to buy a refrigerator that he has to bend over and break his back and reach into, because he already has to live his life in a world built for smaller people. So, I don't care, but, I wouldn't want to do that either. So, out of compassion for him, we had to get a pretty big refrigerator. And again, they aren't cheap. And that took all of our savings that we had. So, that on top of me not working for 4 weeks, it's been rough. And then there's just been some other things going on, and people just me dealing with people that are purposely like using me and taking advantage of me. And I've just been praying a lot and asking the Lord what to do in my life right now, because it's you can only take so much. And I'm finding myself at that point where I'm like, okay, enough is enough. I don't know if I should just cut everything off. But for me personally, for my mental health, I just need to be busy, and I need to have a routine and a schedule. So I don't just want to like quit both of my jobs and stay home and do nothing all day. For me, that's not good for my mental space. So, but I don't know. It's This is just kind of scratching the surface of what's been going on. So I won't bore you guys with that anymore. But all right, you guys, I'll be back in a few minutes with the dream that I had about Obama.